You don't watch history. You become it. Today, you are Leonardo da Vinci, the genius who could see everything, but could not finish everything he saw. You are not the perfect genius the world remembers. That version comes later. That version is carved into museums, printed in school books, whispered in front of the Mona Lisa, and repeated by people who never had to live inside your mind. But you do. And inside your mind, genius is not peace. It is noise. It is hunger. It is 1,000 doors opening at once. You are not simply a painter. You are not simply an inventor. You are not simply the man who draws flying machines centuries before the world is ready for them. You are a storm trapped inside a human body. You see faces, rivers, bones, muscles, wings, machines, cities, weapons, light, shadow, and movement. You see how water curls. You see how birds cut the air. You see how a smile can hide a secret. You see how the human body is a machine made of miracles, and that is your blessing. It is also your curse, because the world wants finished paintings. Patrons want deadlines. Dukes want monuments. Churches want walls covered. Kings want wonders they can own. But your mind does not move in straight lines. It wanders. It questions. It dissects. It abandons. It returns. It sees one idea, then immediately sees 10 more behind it. You were born in 1452 near Vinci, not as the legitimate heir of a powerful family, but as the son of a notary and a woman who will not be remembered the way your father is remembered. From the beginning, you stand slightly outside the doors. Other men walk through easily. You do not receive the clean path. You receive the strange one. Maybe that is why you learn to observe. When the world does not fully invite you in, you study it from the edge. You watch animals. You watch faces. You watch water. You watch hands. You watch the way people lie with their mouths and confess with their eyes. You learn that everything leaves evidence if you are patient enough to see it. In Florence, you enter the workshop of Andrea del Verrocchio. Here, art is not magic. It is labor. Pigments, wood, metal, geometry. Apprentices grinding colors, preparing panels, copying forms, learning the discipline behind beauty. But even here, you are different. You do not want to copy the world. You want to understand why it exists the way it does. A face is not only a face. It is bone, muscle, memory, desire, fear. A river is not only water. It is force, pattern, erosion, movement. A bird is not only a bird. It is a problem in engineering. This is how your mind begins to separate you from everyone around you. Other artists paint wings. You ask how flight works. Other artists paint bodies. You ask what is hidden beneath the skin. Other artists paint saints. You study the shadows on their hands. And slowly, people begin to understand that you are dangerous in a very quiet way. Not dangerous because you want to destroy. Dangerous because you refuse to stop asking. But talent alone is not enough. Florence is full of talent. Italy is full of ambition. Patrons do not simply reward imagination. They reward usefulness, loyalty, speed, and reputation. And you, Leonardo, are not fast. That will haunt you. Again and again, someone will ask you for a masterpiece, and you will give them a beginning so brilliant that they forgive the delay. At first, then the delay becomes frustration. Then frustration becomes suspicion. Then suspicion becomes the question that follows you for the rest of your life. Can Leonardo finish? You leave projects behind like open wounds. The adoration of the Magi remains unfinished. Ideas for machines stay trapped in notebooks. Anatomical studies grow into mountains of observation, but not the great published book they might have become. Your mind is too fertile for your hands. You dream faster than you can build, and still the world keeps calling. Milan offers a different stage. You write to Ludovico Sforza not only as a painter, but as an engineer, a designer of machines, weapons, bridges, canals, and spectacles. You understand something many artists do not. Beauty alone may not feed you, but usefulness might. So you sell yourself as a man of war before you sell yourself as a man of art. You describe machines that can break fortresses, bridges that can be carried, weapons that can terrify armies. And then, almost at the end, as if painting is just one more tool in your hand, you mentioned that you can also create works in marble, bronze, and paint. It is clever. It is practical. it is also tragic, because you are offering destruction to survive long enough to create beauty. In Milan, you become more than an artist. You become a maker of wonders. You design festivals, costumes, machines, buildings, waterways, and impossible dreams. You study anatomy in secret. You sketch skulls, muscles, hearts, hands, infants, old men, horses, storms, and weapons. Everything interests you. That is the problem. Everything interests you. Then comes the Last Supper. A wall, a table, a moment. Not just Christ and the apostles, but shock itself. Betrayal spreading through human faces like a wave. One sentence has been spoken, and every soul in the room reacts differently. You do not paint holiness as distance. You paint holiness as drama, human drama. Fear, confusion, denial, anger, love, guilt. For a moment, you finish something the world cannot ignore, but even triumph contains failure. You experiment with technique. You do not follow the safer method. You want depth, subtlety, control. You want more time to work than wet plaster allows. So you choose your own way, and the painting begins to decay. This is the pattern of your life. Your ambition reaches beyond the materials that must carry it. You are not content to do what works. You want what works better. And sometimes, because of that, the miracle begins to fall apart. Then there is the horse, a gigantic bronze monument for the Sforza family. A horse so grand it will prove that no sculptor alive can match the scale of your imagination. You study horses endlessly. Muscles, movement, weight, anatomy. You build models. You plan. You wait. Years pass. The horse grows in your mind until it becomes more than a commission. It becomes proof. Proof that you can finish something enormous. Proof that your visions can stand in the real world. Then war comes. The bronze meant for your horse is needed for cannons. Your monument is sacrificed to survival. The dream does not become metal. It becomes another ghost, another unfinished thing following you. You keep moving. Florence, Milan, Rome, France. Patrons change. Cities change. Wars shift borders. Men with power rise and fall. You adapt, but you never fully belong to any of them. You are useful, admired, doubted, envied, and misunderstood. You are invited because everyone wants genius near them. You are feared because genius does not obey easily. In Florence, you begin the Mona Lisa. At first, she is a portrait. Then she becomes something else. A face holding a secret the world will never stop trying to solve. You work on her, return to her, carry her with you. The smile changes depending on where the eye rests. The landscape behind her feels like memory from another planet. She is not loud. She does not need to be. She waits. And waiting becomes her power. Maybe that is why she survives you so well. She feels unfinished and complete at the same time. Like you. But while the world now remembers the Mona Lisa as perfection, you know the truth is more restless. You are never fully done. You revise because seeing never ends. You return because the face can always breathe more softly. The shadow can always turn more gently. The mystery can always go deeper. People call this perfectionism, but from inside your mind, it is not perfectionism. It is pursuit. You chase the thing behind the thing. The smile behind the face. The motion inside the water. The soul beneath the skin. The machine inside the bird. The law inside the miracle. That is why your notebooks become your real kingdom. Thousands of pages, drawings, diagrams, mirror writing, questions, lists, observations, inventions, jokes, debts, designs, fears, flying machines, war machines, hydraulic systems, anatomical studies, optical studies, city plans, the world broken apart and rebuilt in ink. Your notebooks are not just records. They are evidence of a mind that cannot stop reaching. But here is the cruelty. A notebook does not fly. A sketch does not save a city. A design does not become real just because it is brilliant. You imagine machines the world cannot yet build. You understand possibilities before the materials, money, and culture exist to support them. You are not only ahead of your time. Sometimes you are trapped ahead of your time. That sounds glorious when people say it centuries later. It feels lonely while you are alive. Because being ahead of your time means explaining yourself to people who cannot yet understand the question. You grow older. Your hand still draws. Your eyes still search. Your mind still opens doors, but your body is no longer as obedient as before. The world around you changes, yet the same hunger remains. You go to France under the protection of King Francis I. There is honor in it, comfort even. A king admires you. You are treated like a treasure, but you also carry the weight of everything unfinished. The paintings not completed, the machines not built, the books not published, the horse not cast, the questions not answered. The body can age, but curiosity does not know how to retire. And near the end, perhaps you understand the shape of your own tragedy. You were not a failure. That would be too simple. You were something harder to explain. A man with more futures inside him than one lifetime could hold. You gave the world masterpieces, but left behind even more possibilities. You changed art, but you also pointed towards science. You studied beauty, but also anatomy. You designed weapons, but dreamed of flight. You served princes, but belonged to questions. And maybe that is why the world still cannot put you in one box. Painter, inventor, engineer, scientist, dreamer, anatomist, architect, genius, unfinished man. When you die in 1519, the world loses a mind it had never fully understood. But the strange thing is this: your unfinished work does not disappear. It becomes part of the legend. The gaps become invitations. The sketches become prophecies. The abandoned projects become proof that your imagination was larger than your century. And centuries later, people stand before your paintings and whisper. They open your notebooks and stare. They build models from your drawings. They ask whether you invented the future. But maybe that is the wrong question. You did not invent the future. You saw it, pieces of it, shadows of it, the direction of it. And then you spent your life trying to pull it closer with ink, paint, bone, wire, wood, and thought. So now the question belongs to you. Was Leonardo da Vinci the greatest genius in history? Or a man so distracted by possibility that he could never become everything he might have been? Was his unfinished work a weakness, or the clearest proof of how far beyond his century his mind had already gone? And if you could see as much as Leonardo saw, would you finish more? Or would you also be haunted by the next idea before the first one was done? Comment below. Because maybe genius is not the ability to finish everything. Maybe genius is the pain of seeing too much. And remember, you don't watch history. You become it. Today you were Leonardo da Vinci.